My introduction to Pokemon was the very first episode of the anime. Ash meeting Pikachu,
Oh, hi, Pikachu.
his new reluctant partner. His goal was to become a Pokemon master, but first, he had to master Pikachu. That first episode set up the fantasy of what Pokemon was meant to be, at least for me. And despite what the theme song said, I never cared about catching them all. What fascinated me about Pokemon was the idea of building a bond with these creatures and growing together, trusting each other, overcoming challenges side by side. So when the games came out, that idea was always in the back of my mind. I was hard pressed to let go of my early team. I rarely swapped out my first 6 Pokemon for stronger ones. I wanted to finish the game with the same companions I started with. Catching new Pokemon always felt like a side quest to me, because for me this was a monster teaming game, not a creature collector. Over the years, I treated every new release that way, until recently. With the release of the Switch 2, I finally went back and completed Scarlet. And by completed, I mean I filled out all 3 Pokedexes. And during that process, I found myself not enjoying parts of the game. Mechanics I had always ignored, IV, breeding, EV training, min-maxing monsters. These systems are supposed to make you stronger, but they felt at odds with the fantasy I'd always held on to. The fantasy of taming wild creatures to be your trusted partners in battle. With the release of Legends Z-A, I've been playing it a bit, and despite not having the highest of hopes, I think it's fine enough. It doesn't really tap into that childhood fantasy I had, but it does enough differently from the mainline games that I think it's worth trying if you're a fan. And I've seen the negative reviews, which have become a trend with Pokemon. I mean, Scarlet barely became playable for me with the Switch 2, and once the hardware stopped dragging the experience down, I really enjoyed it. But while playing Legends Z-A, I couldn't shake this thought. This experience could be so much better if Game Freak just leaned a little harder into that original fantasy. If your original partner Pokemon mattered to the story, if they would pop out of their Pokeball to protect you from a wild Pokemon attack, or if the bond you built training them and caring for them was shown in moments that made you never want to put them in a box. That connection, that sense of partnership, is what I think the series has been missing. Shortly before I jumped into Z-A, I played Digimon Story Time Stranger, and this served as an introduction to Digimon for me. I had a couple of the digital pets as a kid and saw a few episodes of the original anime, but it was never a series that stuck with me. So going into Time Stranger, I didn't know what to expect. What I found was a surprisingly good story with twists and turns, and a more mature tone, some really wild and creative monster designs, and a level of mechanical depth that I wasn't expecting. This was all pleasantly surprising. One thing that really stood out to me was that Digimon have a stat called Bond. You can raise Bond by using your Digimon in battle and having conversations with them after a few battles, or just getting them fat in the Digifarm. A higher bond means a better stat retention when they digivolve, and a greater chance of critical hits in combat. This is a clever system. It encourages you to stick with your partners instead of constantly breeding for perfect versions and replacing them with their optimized cousins. But even this doesn't fulfill the fantasy of monster taming. It's mechanical. A friendship bar that simulates a relationship with math. And I have to ask, is this the best we can do? And are there any games that really scratch that monster taming itch? Are they all just collectathons? What would a proper taming system look like? And could that be the missing ingredient that this genre needs? The one thing that fans have been looking for without really realizing it? Imagine a game where your monsters start as wild beasts, reluctant to listen to your commands, whose trust and respect you have to earn by caring for them and proving yourself as a reliable partner. As you travel together, they become more willing to listen to commands, they become stronger with you. Random moments in and out of battle strengthen your bond, where it takes discipline, patience, and care to shape your partner's behavior, where their personalities become a reflection of the way you play the game. I don't know exactly what that game would look like. And despite how much I've enjoyed these games over the years, I think it's time to reevaluate and open the discussion up to what we actually want out of this genre. And hopefully, whether it's with Pokemon or any other game, we can finally fulfill that fantasy that at least I saw in Pokemon nearly 3 decades ago. Hey, this is Tony. If you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe if you're interested in hearing more from me. Thanks for watching.